You've been learning English for years, so you're not a beginner, but fluency still feels out of reach. Here's what's actually holding you back and what to do instead. Number 1, stop blaming your past. Failed tests, bad teachers, previous embarrassments, it's all in the past. Your future English is your responsibility now. So no more excuses. Number 2, you won't improve if you're scared of making mistakes. In fact, the more mistakes, the better. Did you hear the story about the pottery class? The teacher split his students into 2 groups. He told group A, make the perfect pot, focus on quality. And he told group B, make as many pots as possible, focus on quantity. And of course, at the end of the term, the best pots came from the quantity group, the ones who were trying to make as many as possible. Why? Because they practiced more. They experimented, failed, and improved, and they learned by doing. That's like us when we learn a new language, by doing a lot of speaking and making a lot of mistakes. The quality group sat around theorizing about perfection, but didn't make a lot of progress. That's like you when you sit there frozen, wondering if it's had or have had, instead of just saying it and moving on. Number 3, some people are naturally better at languages. Factors like your working memory and even your musical ability will impact on how easy learning English is for you. Look, some people have natural strengths, but in the long term, effort, attitude, and consistency are far more important for fluency. Number 4, ignore bad advice from YouTube English teachers. You know, things like don't say thank you. There are whole channels dedicated to exposing the errors of YouTube and TikTok English teachers. And to be honest, I love watching them. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. But there is some absolutely shocking stuff out there. I don't mean non-native English teachers. There are some fantastic non-native teachers out there, and likewise some pretty poor native English speaking teachers. Just find a few teachers that you can vibe with and that you can trust, and take any new advice with a healthy dose of skepticism. Number 5, immersion alone isn't enough. The drowning man doesn't learn to swim. Think about that. It may apply to you in one of 2 ways. If you're immersed in English, like if you're living in New York City or London town or wherever, you're going to be surrounded by English, but just being there, physically being there, isn't enough. It just washes over your head. Like the drowning man, you've got nothing to hold on to. You still have to do the work and engage with people, and maybe even back it up with some study or reading. And likewise, if you sat at home in Peru, France, India or Egypt or wherever you live, stop using the excuse that your English isn't advanced because you haven't had the opportunity to live in an English-speaking country. Sure, it'd be great, but it wouldn't automatically solve all of your problems like you think it would. And it's not happening, at least not right now, so you just have to make the best of your situation. Number 6, avoid negative self-talk. Learners who believe they aren't good at languages always underperform. Not because they don't have the ability, they just give up sooner, so they don't have long enough to get really good. There's something about low confidence that just kills consistency and kills the willingness to make mistakes. Remember, consistency beats talent, and a little bit of self-belief goes a long way. Number 7, Duolingo won't get you fluent. Great for beginners and as one tool to complement your learning, but on its own, the intensity is just too low and there are too many other distractions on your phone. My dad's got like a 2,000 day streak and he ain't fluent in Spanish. Number 8, I don't need to study, is lazy thinking. With all the comprehensible input stuff, there's a lot of advice on YouTube saying you can just watch Netflix and read comics. That stuff's good to have, but it's too passive. You need to squeeze your brain to learn. Effort activates growth. When your brain struggles, it activates neural plasticity, the conditions required for learning and change. Number 9, use it or lose it. Language decays fast if you don't use it actively. If you're not on a mission right now to improve your English, you still need to check in from time to time just to maintain the same level. Number 10, raise the stakes. Raising the stakes means increasing the pressure or the consequences so that you care more and try harder. This applies to your learning resources. Now, free is fine, but it's true what they say. When you pay attention. I've seen the reverse of this when I've helped people for free in the past. Nothing gets your attention like if you pay for a class, a course, or a book. That being said, I do have a completely free PDF to help you grow your vocabulary faster than comprehensible input alone. Links down below. Number 11, fluency takes years. Intermediate might come fast, but advanced takes time. Be realistic and be patient. Number 12, if your thinking is messy in your own language, it'll be a disaster in English. This lesson becomes really obvious when you're preparing for something like the IELTS exam. I was doing exam prep with one guy and he had a decent level of English, but he couldn't organise his ideas. And we eventually realised that it wasn't a problem with his English because he couldn't organise his ideas clearly in his own language. As a life skill, learn to think clearly, write concisely, and communicate simply. And this will definitely translate well into your English. Number 13, don't ignore pronunciation. Pronunciation is not just the sound of words. It's about how we link words and sounds together and the stress and the rhythm of each word and of the phrase as a whole. Pronunciation can be good or bad, correct or incorrect. And if you get it wrong, people will struggle to understand you and your communication will be rubbish. So practice pronunciation as a skill. Number 14, you can improve your accent. I've said it 100 times on this channel. Pronunciation matters, your accent doesn't. But just recently, I've started to question that. It's like, oh, you're a non-native speaker. That accent makes you sound special because you've learnt English. Well, what if you don't want to sound special? I heard a story about a student who was learning French. Now, he wasn't the best in the class and he wasn't really taking the class seriously and he was probably going to fail the final speaking test. So he decided that if he was going to fail, he was going to fail spectacularly. He decided he would make a joke out of his final speaking presentation and put on a ridiculous, exaggerated French accent. He thought he sounded ridiculous, but they had no idea that he was making fun of them. They just loved his accent. So if you really act the part of the native speaker, you might have more capacity for accent learning than you think. 15, don't just work in your head, use your mouth. You're training muscles, not just memory. There is a tendency, if you're studying alone, to just sit in silence and read or watch videos. Don't forget, you're learning a communication skill, so you actually need to open your mouth and speak. You can't learn to swim by watching. You actually have to jump in. So even if you have to speak to yourself, have a shower talk out loud. Number 16, struggling to say something forces growth. Needing a word and struggling to find it helps you to remember it. So when you try and say something and get stuck, that's when you improve. Find a different way to say it or go and find the word you need. 17, record yourself. It's awkward, but it's also one of the best ways to improve your speaking skills, especially if you're practicing on your own. Listen back, see how it sounds. Don't just listen for the words. Think, does it make sense what you're saying? Listen to how you're communicating. Is it too fast, too quiet, too monotone? Do you need to pause and breathe? Number 18, don't ignore skills. Reading and writing improves speaking and speaking improves writing. Every skill supports the others, so don't ignore skills. Number 19, don't worry about thinking in English. Let me explain. Of course, you want to stop translating in your head. That process of how do I say that in my language and what's that in English is too slow. You'll never speak fluency. You'll never speak fluently translating word by word. But I find students generally just stop doing that automatically when their English is good enough. But students still worry about, I can't think in English. I wouldn't worry about it. I find that it's hard to even know what language you're thinking in. And when you think about it, do you even need to think in any language? Think about a 4-month-old baby. No language yet, but they can definitely still think. So just because you don't have a voice in your head that sounds like the King of England, that would be scary. Doesn't mean your English is rubbish. Number 20, most people quit before fluency. Most people just give up before they reach their goal. Remember that consistency beats talent. Number 21, learn vocabulary. Does it feel like your intelligence gets lost in translation? Well, it's not your intelligence. It's your vocabulary. Without the right words, your ideas stay trapped inside. You can't express emotion, nuance, or depth. And if you do want to improve your vocabulary much faster than comprehensible input, check out my D3 method, completely free PDF, links down below. Over and out.